Brother Reed Islam, born and raised in Compton, California, Wax Richland Farms area. And the street culture for me, directly within my own family, is everything from Bloods, Crips, drug dealers, etc. That was how I grew up. Hearing gunshots, all that, police sirens was regular. I didn't see a problem with it because it literally was normal. It was an everyday occurrence. And growing up in the middle of that, my family did their best to keep me away from it.
My name is Chuck Taylor, born and raised in Linwood, California. He pretty much kept on everything I was going to say. Next door, Linwood, Compton, we neighbors. So grew around drugs, gangs, Crips, Bloods, police. It's just all that is wrong.
My name is Freeway. What ain't my nickname? Freeway. Sometimes I get it mixed up. My name is Rick Ross. So I grew up in South Central LA, and I kind of stayed on the borderline of Crips and Bloods. So when I went to elementary school, I went to school with Bloods and Crips, and started playing tennis at 13. So I was kind of taken outside of the hood for about 7 or 8 years. But my whole focus was strictly on becoming a professional tennis player. Felt that we could out of the ghetto. Didn't happen. I grew up on Figueroa, 7, South Central. Figueroa is the prostitutes stroll where walk the street. So was very, very familiar with the women and pimps. And just a different way of living. One of the things that happened with me when I stopped playing tennis and I went back to the hood, I found out that the Crips and the Bloods fought. And for me, it was really strange for me because I went to school with some of these guys who also went to school with each other. Now they call themselves enemies.
Born in Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona, on West Side Projects. Raised in Compton, California. My grandmother bought a house in Compton back in '62. Originally from Texas. Remember how my parents from Texas. And growing up, I became part of that project. I was the one of the young dudes, my uncles, out of 8 of us. I have 4 boys, 4 girls. I'm the oldest boy, 3rd oldest overall. My mother has. All of us had different fathers. And so I grew up fighting every day.
The youngest of 10 children, 5 boys and 5 girls. So they did their best to make life easy or happy, but of course, it still seeped in to my everyday living. So just growing up in it was a heavy deal. Losing my older brother to a drug deal. My oldest sister was on Skid Row crack cocaine for 16 years. Thankfully, she's still alive, so she made it through. She's clean, doing well. But again, mother's on drugs. This was all a part of it. It's a part of what made me today. So that's why I'm actually still involved with WP.
I started selling drugs at 19 years old. Well, I've been doing, as a kid, I did petty crime. Still go to the store, but I had never really did no serious crime until after they told me that my tennis career was over. My tennis was the way that I was going to get out of the ghetto and take care of my family. But after that was no longer an option. Then I found myself back in South Central LA because tennis kind of kept me outside of South Central. This tennis club, this park, with somebody playing tennis. But after that was over, nobody wanted to get. It's like when you fall from grace, nobody wants to be around you. So I found myself back in the hood, back around the dudes that I went to elementary and junior high school with, and I started doing the things that they were doing.
Today, the beauty is music has started to take a positive change in the way that it did about 30, 40 years ago. Every 20 to 30 years, there comes this positive uptick for a moment because everybody starts to figure out, okay, these situations are happening to us. It keeps happening. Nothing ain't changing. So an artist, you got to speak up. You got to say something about it. We out here living this life. You may have some money now. You got the bag. You got out, but we still here. So what are you going to say? And that happens from what I've noticed at least every 20, 25 years. So this generation, the struggle has been between who do I listen to and who knows the answers. Because who I'm listening to may not know what they're talking about. And who knows the answers is someone who I may not really look up to, who I may not listen to. As a matter of fact, I may have never known about him or her. So they struggle between those two, and then a large percentage of us in this generation just don't care to find out anything. We just live our life, do what we want to do, turn up, etc. Because we don't really care to believe anything is that serious, because we don't think it's really possible to change it to begin with. So you have a different mixture of things going on. Brothers and sisters in the hood, in the projects, are thinking about food and money and how to get through another day. That's primary.
I like hip hop. I love more of the beats than some of the words. The words and meaning, man, I didn't care for it. But the beats really gave me that rhythm.
The hip hop was educating, uplifting, bringing solutions, telling the people to learn something, study something, protect the black woman, protect the black man. Love your parents, honor and respect each other. Build the community. You said fight the powers that be, all that kind of stuff. That's real life-giving truth, and they don't like that. But the beauty is today, what I notice in this generation is some of the artists are waking up. They are talking about credit. They are talking about, do y'all know about growing your own food? Do you know about gold? Do you know about what's going on with the economy? Y'all seen what's going on over here? I've been watching a lot of them. And I'm talking to some of them myself, and I said, start putting out the truth. Don't worry about what they're telling you. Put out the truth. I actually had the honor of securing Brother Nipsey for a certain period of time. Okay. It's a different perspective when you are protecting someone's life. I didn't know of all of his work at the time. I know Brothers from 6-0, rap artist, doing his best to help the community at the time. But later on, after the securing, a few years later is when we started doing work with him in the community, as far as not only the community feedings, but he came out with the Vector 90 for technology. Then the brother went all the way out to Amsterdam to establish a connection with Bitcoin. There's a city in Amsterdam where they're run on nothing but Bitcoin. And he bought into that company. He wanted to bring that to LA so that everyone would have that access to that. So he was very advanced. He put the microchips in his clothing so that way he would have an access to technology to do that as well. As we were saying, the brother was very intelligent.
He was a visionary at his young age. Like that, he learned how to balance that negative and that positive. You know what I mean? That strength and that weakness. And his strength kind of overshadowed, the weakness of feeling he didn't want to let go. But I just believe he's a special person, young man. He's a very special young man who learned how to captivate the world in a very special way. Let me show you something on that page. You mentioned Tupac was made. From my understanding, he came from Oakland, right? Originally. He died as a what? A blood from Compton, right? Again, let me break this down to y'all. If that man would have stayed focused on who he was as an artist and stayed away from all the nonsense and the chaos that we create upon ourselves, he'd be alive today. Most artists, hip hop, etc., especially in the 90s, wanted to be something they could never be. They wanted to be something they could never be. And most of them paid their way. I'm saying it, most of them paid their way when they go to them neighborhoods. I need 100 low riders. I need 100 of your homeboys here. Here go a sack. Here go this. Here go that. They paid their way to make it seem like they something they really didn't want to be. But because of the fake shit, fake it before you make it, because of that BS, that bullshit, they put themselves in situations that made all of us look bad.
It's coming back, and the beauty is that we continue to listen to that and encourage that. Stop buying the records that are bad for us. Stop encouraging it by putting our dollars where the stuff is destroying us, and start just saying, listen, I ain't into that. I'm not gonna listen to that.
It's just, Nipsey said it perfect, son.
Yeah.
That you can make things happen. You can't be who you want to be and still make things happen. And he showed it no better than anyone else.
It is coming back, and again, it is a double-edged sword, because if you use the music to destroy, it's no longer hip hop.